What's up, pros? Today we have part 2 of the Lewis Milich interview. All relevant information, again, will be in the description below, along with links to Lou and I's social media. So please enjoy.
Play. If you would have changed anything in this play, now that I'm like saying it back to you, so it was like a really hard read, and it was in the second game, I think.
I lost the second game the second he led Coco. I was like, oh no, I don't have Marowak, I have Arcanine again. But yeah, sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's all good actually. That's part of the thing actually. It's when he had Coco, and I think you read that he would switch into Kartana, so you did Scald into that slot, and that was an example of, I guess, when one of the hard reads that you usually do make, even when you're on stream, paid off. But maybe there was like another time when it didn't pay off. Like for example, when you were, when you could have for example at that time you had Scald and Sludge Bomb on Tentacruel, so you could have Sludge Bombed into that Coco slot, but instead you did make the hard read and go for the Scald. What's the reasoning behind that, or how do you justify to yourself when you make those hard reads?
That's a really good question. Whenever I think it's okay, this is a little bit just about the state of mind that I was in for this tournament.
Sure.
But the night before, actually I got a decent amount of sleep the night before, but day one, we spent 15 hours at the venue. We got there at 9 o'clock for registration. We didn't get to leave till past midnight. Then we had to be back at the venue at 8 a.m. the next day for Top Cut. So everybody was really low on steam. And everybody was physically, emotionally exhausted. Everybody who played in Top Cut, we were all dead. We were all talking about it at the table. So we were like, yo, we did not get enough sleep last night. Because if you wanted to stay up for even a couple hours to prepare for, if you know who your opponent is and you want to prepare for him, then you're losing 2 hours of valuable sleep. So for this tournament was different than all other tournaments in that respect. Every tournament has a different feel to it. And this tournament was, and I guess this kind of applies to making reads in general, but you just got to follow your gut. You just got to follow your gut. You have to before you just think, oh, he's going to do this, I'm going to click this and get him, I'm going to get him. You have to weigh it. You have to weigh your options. You have to think, okay, well, but what happens if I don't get this right? Is there a way I can play this safer? Is there a way I can cover every option? And if the answer is no, and it's in that situation, it was like a 50-50 kind of. Because if he didn't Volt Switch, then that Scald would have lost me the game. But if he did Volt Switch, then it would have put me in a position where I could get a double Protect off to win the game. So
I would have to look at the clip again. I don't remember the play by heart, but I remember it was a good switch.
Yeah, I remember it. He had the Porygon and Tapu Koko left with the very weakened Kartana in the back. And I had Snorlax out, and I had a sub up on Tentacruel.
That was it. I think that's exactly what it was. Exactly.
Yeah, and so he Volt Switched into my sub, got rid of the sub, and my Snorlax had just protected, so it couldn't protect Snorlax again. So he Volt Switched, got in his Kartana, I read it, KO'd the Kartana, let the Snorlax go down, and then I could still protect next turn. And so, what was it? Yeah, he brought back out the Coco, and I think I protected, and I blizzarded. Protected and I blizzarded. Yeah, now I can't remember. I thought I had it. I know the first position I had was right, but anyways, moral of the story, kids. If there's a hard read that you have that you can make it. Make it. If you have that gut feeling and there's no way around it, there's no way to play safer, just go with whatever you're feeling. Because at this tournament, we were so tired, we were so exhausted. It felt like I was just playing on instinct, especially after I lost my first round, because I started 5-0. I started 5-0, 10-0, actually. I was off to a great start. I would have actually gone 6-0, 12-0, but I got crit. My Snorlax got crit through Aura Veil, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!"
You are the crit master. You get crit more than anybody I've ever seen. I watch you stream, and you get crit minimum twice per game.
It's actually a problem. It's really a problem for me how much I get crit. It's insane. But at this tournament, actually, even at this tournament, I got so unlucky. I only hit like, what was it? I think I missed 30% of my Muddy Waters or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But I was getting really unlucky. I was missing like everywhere. I would have gotten crit. But I think it was after the game where I lost, like after I got crit, I realized like that was bad. That was horrible. But it doesn't matter because I've been there before. Like I've started 4-0 at a regional. I've started 4-1 at a regional. And in both of those regionals, I didn't top cut. I actually, at both of those regionals, just after I get my first loss, it like just all starts going downhill from there. And
Yeah.
my mind was just in such a good place for this tournament. I had the right mindset. Like psychologically, everything felt good. So I was just like, you know what, I lost. Doesn't matter. I'm going to play the way I feel. I'm going to do what feels right in every game. And then my next game, I ended up winning with like Encore Parish. Like I made just this insane read and got off like a quick KO, then like Encore Parish something, then made like another sick read. And it was in a game 3 actually where I did that.
So
And I like
clutch.
don't want to cuss on your program, but I I had a horrible matchup. I just scraped by in this game. That's what I'll say about it. I scraped by a victory just by making one hard read that I had to make. And that's what you have to do. You will never top cut a tournament by not making reads.
Yeah,
you
you
just
can't
won't do
play
it.
safe all the time. It's people will read you playing safe most of the time, and that's just like the baseline of how most people play. So, I mean, yeah, you absolutely are right in that respect. So if you had to guess the world's team right now, and I guess if you had to guess 3 Pokemon on the world's team, what would you guess that they would be?
Finny. Finny is first off, like of obvious. I think
Yeah.
Finny. The second they announced Finny, I was like, wait, you're saying that there's a Mon that stops me from getting frozen? What? Like, that was just the first thing I thought of. I was like, that's
course you.
incredible. Everyone was like, oh, well, it doesn't get the 50% boost to your moves that all the other Tapus do. And I was like, yeah, but you don't understand. You lead Finny, you stop them from getting their boosts.
Yeah,
So the boosts are good, don't get me wrong.
No,
but
they are. They're absolutely amazing.
yeah, Finny was the second that I saw Finny, I was like, this is the Mon for me. Like I knew that was the best. This is the best Hapu. Second maybe to Coco. I don't know. Him and Coco I thought were kind of I actually thought after like the first couple of weeks Coco was an early meta fad.
I did.
I thought it was at first, but then I thought about it a little more and I was like, this thing's way too fast and hits way too hard.
Yeah.
So for the second Mon, I would probably say Coco, honestly.
So 2
like-
Tapus so far.
Yeah. Or maybe Coco and Finny, because a lot of people have doing that
Yeah.
with Nature's Power so that you can Moonblast in Misty Terrain with Coco. So I would definitely say those 2. And for the third, I don't want to go out and say Mandibuzz. I mean, Mandibuzz is really good
My
right
boy,
now.
Mandibuzz. Right up
Yeah,
there
the
on
boy
big
Mandibuzz
screen.
on screen. That Fake Tears plays.
love
That Fake Tears is going to be dirty coming up soon.
I
Just
love
watch.
it. I love
Just
it so
watch.
much. I've played it for that one night so far. I've played maybe 5 games with it. I love it.
It's,
I love
yeah,
it.
it's great. But I would say for the third Mon, I want to go Garchomp. I really want to go Garchomp just because.
Safe guess.
Oh no, Arcanine, easily Arcanine
Oh wow. Yeah.
over Garchomp.
No, very true.
Arcanine is the best Intimidator in the format by far and away. By far and away.
We haven't seen the one that Stoutland, because it gets Intimidate as well and it gets Psychic Fangs, so it can break Aurora Veil.
I actually faced a Stoutland on BattleSpot, but it was like Sandrush Stoutland, and I was like, and it had After You, like Sandrush After
I thought
You.
that was kind of a cool idea too, but
Yeah, so it would like After You next to Gigalith, and then all of a sudden there's like a Gigalith that's going first, and that changes everything. Like that becomes a monster. Because I mean, at that point, you can just flinch everything with Rock Slide, and
Oh,
you just
yeah.
win.
especially with your luck, eh? You probably get
Oh my
flinched every
God.
time.
Jesus. I do have to say though, the games that I played at my during my regional run, the games
Mhm.
where I needed luck. I'm not gonna say the games where I needed luck to win, because that never happened to me. Surprisingly, actually no, I needed luck to win in top 8, and I didn't get one or two double protects. But I mean, I'm not gonna complain about that.
No, it's a
But
protect,
the
double
games
protect.
where luck or RNG factors could have screwed me over, they didn't. Like there was a game where it was in top 8, and I was 6-1. I would have gone to 7-1, most likely top cut if I won this game. And we were in game 3. Oh, no, I need to go back. I need to go back to game 2, because this is wild what happened
Okay.
in game 2. It came down to Porygon v Milich. And I got his Porygon stuck into recover with Encore. So I was like, oh, this is great.
With
I can just
melodic,
freeze
melodic gets
dry.
encore, right?
Or Ninetales. Did I say Melodic?
I think you did.
I meant Ninetales. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
But it was my Ninetales versus his Porygon. And I encored him in the recover. And I was like, okay, we're going to freeze, and then we're going to win. I launched 14 freeze dries, and I didn't get a single freeze. After 14 freeze dries. I was like, what? And so I lost. I lost because he ended up running out of PP on recover and then just locking into an attack. Or then I think he actually toxicked me and then started attacking me, and then that ended up giving him the victory. And I was like, dang. So we go into game 3. I realized if I set up Aura Veil and I get Fiddy and Marowak next to each other and I just Muddy Water Flare Blitz him to death, you can't match the damage output and I'll win. I just need to hit my Muddy Waters.
Miss.
And I hit 3 Muddy Waters. Actually, I think a couple of the targets may have protected. So I didn't hit both targets 3 times. I think I hit maybe
Nice.
maybe 7 targets, I would say. I hit Muddy Water 7 times in this game. Wait, no, that's wrong. That's not 7. 4. I think I hit 4. That's what it was, yeah.
So
I hit
evens
4
out.
Muddy Waters. And that's actually pretty impressive. Like, if you calculate the odds. Actually, I'm going to do it real quick. Let me pull up a
No,
calculator.
please do, yeah.
What are the chances of hitting? 0.85. The chances of hitting times 4. So that's 0.85 times 0.85 times 0.85 times 0.85.
It's like
The chances of that
0.28.
are like 50%, like a little bit above 50%. So it was like a 50-50, essentially, of me winning this game with all the Muddy Waters I was
Muddy
launching off.
waters. Lol.
And then I also lived at Arcanine E-Speed at like 1 HP as well.
Clutch.
It was a high damage roll though. I went from like 32 to 1 HP, but I had Aura Veil up, so like I was surprised it even came that close. But like I lived on 1 HP, and then I remember back to like before the tournament, I was like, oh my god, I optimized my EV spreads and put 4 EVs in defense instead of just dumping them all into HP, and that just saved my tournament run. I just couldn't believe it. Like, and I was like, I didn't miss Muddy Water, because I was missing Muddy Water all day. Like all day I was missing. It was like Jesus, but the team was just so good, and I would just overpower people. Like, oh, I missed Muddy Water. Like, oh no, good thing I've perished in the back. I can still win. Just stuff like that. So the misses never mattered. The ones that I missed, actually, a couple of them did matter in the sense of it set me back, but I was still able to pull out the win. But in this game, I couldn't miss. Like if I had missed, I would have lost, because my opponent was playing really, really well. He actually probably positioned himself better than I did, but I just had the raw offense to go through him, so I just went with it.
Sometimes you just have to go with it. Sometimes your opponent will just outposition you, and that's his win con. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what all of top 8 was like for me too. In case you guys saw it, I was outpositioned in top 8 from the get-go, because normally like I said earlier, the way I would deal with P2 was let it sit there and do nothing. Physical P2 doesn't sit there and do nothing.
No,
it
does
sits
not.
there and it just just smacks everything. Just smacks it. So
The first time I saw that return, I was like kind of surprised. I was like, wait, the download boost, I guess that's decent damage. Like, you know what I mean?
it did so much. I had Aura Veil up and I switched Tentacruel into that return,
Well,
and it almost
Tentacruel.
did 50%. And I was like, are you 252 adamant? Are you adamant Porygon? What the heck? What is going on? But it just did so. That was even with Aura Veil up. That's what really got me. That was Aura-Veil up, and it still did that. I mean, Tentacruel
Wow.
obviously doesn't have the best defenses,
No, but
but
still, that's a lot. And
uh,
I was thinking 40% was a
but
lot all into
yeah,
own.
Porygon doesn't have the best offenses either. Like, should not be doing that much damage. So that's also why I changed the team a bit. No, that's also why I took off Tentacruel and I put on Metagross just because it does more damage. It just does more damage to P2. Deals with P2 better, even the physical P2, because you can like instead of just having Snorlax sit there and having P2 return everything that's next to Snorlax till Snorlax is the only thing I have left. I can have Metagross next to Snorlax and outposition the P2, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, Porygon too. When I first saw that at the beginning of the season, I was like, why? And I looked at his defense and I was like, I guess because 20 special attack is definitely worth like 45 special defense and like 40 defense. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean with the Eviolite. So,
Porygon killed Oranguru. Like, I thought Oranguru at the start of the season maybe was going to be used a lot more because of Instruct. I actually want to run, or want to look into running something interesting. Maybe, like, Oranguru hits 123 speed, like, speed points. So
at
that's
max?
fast. That's fast, honestly. That outspeeds Finny. That outspeeds Arcanine. That outspeeds a lot of things. So I'm maybe going to play around,
I didn't know that.
maybe not bring it to a regional, but like maybe play around with like max speed and like max speed all bulk instruct Oranguru, like max speed bulky. That could be, I don't know. It's something to play around with definitely because they'll think, oh, he's gonna go Trick Room, and then you just annihilate. Like even discharge Coco, like you could discharge and instruct your own discharges in front of Arc Finny. Well, I mean they wouldn't leave the Finny out, so that's probably not a good idea. But there's a lot you could do with it.
They wouldn't. Yeah, there is. It's just I find and best said by Alex Igloza actually. Um, you know, Oranguru just doesn't put any pressure of its own. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just kind of there to support his partner, and you know, you just focus down the partner, and what is Oranguru gonna do? I mean, you know,
Yeah, that's why Oranguru. That's why Porygon is better because Porygon's bulkier. It has recovery. It still gets the Trick Room option, and it can one shot Porygon can one shot the most common mon in the format, Garchomp. Like that's amazing. Porygon can Toxic Stall with like Toxic Recovery. It can T-Bolt for your Rain matchup. It can Shadow Ball. Like Porygon is just by far and away the Pokemon that has more utility.
Swiss Army knife if there ever was one in this format.
Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect analogy.
It really is, though. It can just fill so many like roles, you know, if depending on what you need to do at the time. Like not like before. I mean, like beforehand when you're making your team, oftentimes it will be very similar to like, you know, almost a cookie cutter, like this bold or calm nature, you know, like or sassy, you know, like and then like, you know, just throw one of the moves you talk 4 of the moves we talked about or 3 of the moves we were talking about just now in Trick Room, and there you go. Like you basically have to just decide which 3 of the moves it has depending on what it led with, kind of, you know, and play from there. But it's a great mon. I've had him on a lot of teams this season. I think, have you?
Yeah, I used it. I think I've only actually used it at a mid-season, but it was a mid-season I bubbled and got 9th, so I'm a little still salty about that. But yeah, I think I used that at that mid-season, and I was using the Toxic one, the Toxic Porygon, because I love Toxic Porygon. I love it so much, but there's so many Finny around. It's a lot harder to use. You have to like balance your own terrain with Toxic, and there isn't really a good terrain setter that stands up to Finny that much other than Coco. But if you're switching Coco into it in order to get rid of, because like Coco's faster, so you can't lead Coco into Finny.
Because
Get like
he'll
a
get his
Toxic
terrain.
off. Yeah, you have to like switch it in, and switching Coco in is like
Bait.
hard. It's hard to do
People
because you
will
take a lot
read
of
you,
damage,
and yes, punish.
and you're
you.
frail.
Yeah, when that Coco comes in, it usually gets punished.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's an obvious switch, and that Coco is taking at least, I mean, I don't want to say at least, because then it's like, you know, but it takes quite a bit of damage when it does.
It's
switch in.
getting
like,
2-hit KO'd. We'll put it that way.
Very well put.
Yeah.
Very well put. So, what's your favorite egg move now that Pokebank is out? Favorite egg move?
Ooh. This isn't really an egg move, but Geomancy Smeargle is back, boys. It is back,
that's
and
so
it's better than
true.
ever because you don't have Kangaskhan to stop it.
So
So
true. That's so true. There you
yeah,
go.
Geomancy Smeargle back and better than ever. I'm just saying, and that's not technically an egg move, but if I were to give an egg move, it would probably fake tears on
Yeah.
Whimsicott. That's what I'd
Fake
say.
tears on Whimsicott?
No, I did not mean Whimsicott. I meant Mandibuzz.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't even think Whimsicott. I literally thought Mandibus too. I didn't even hear that mistake. You corrected yourself like
Yeah, the second I
we
said it,
would
I was
have
like,
put it up.
not really.
So I ended my last video with this, so I probably should end it with this this time. Um, what do you think about the new Pokemon Stars rumors for the Switch? What are you hoping for competitively or anything really having to do with the game?
Okay, competitively, I know instantly what I'm hoping for, and that is for the move tutor moves from ORAS to be back, because
Hmm.
we need those so much. Everything would get Icy Wind again, which so much more speed control. Everything would get Tailwind again too, because like nothing good gets Tailwind this year. Last year, everything in their mother got like Mence doesn't even get Tailwind. Like Tailwind,
Nothing
Mence
good
is
gets
Mence is
Tailwind.
praying. Mence is praying to have something that makes it good again, because
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
so
good.
true. I mean, like
Oh, well, I
defense
can't say
curl
it's
just
not
got
good. It
given.
won a regional, but like Mence is very. It's got to be on the right team this year. It's not the
Hmm.
way it's been in past years where you build around Mence. Now Mence is a niche. Mence is like a niche pick, a niche
Yeah,
intimidator because you don't want to have Arcanine on your team because it doesn't work. Like
in
it's
some
like your
cases.
backup intimidator.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
His
that's what it
damage
is now.
output is
It
poor.
used to be, oh, I'm gonna lead Mence
Not
and
poor.
then have something next to Mence that handles things that don't handle Mence, and Mence handles everything, but not anymore.
Draco misses.
Oh no,
And
that
Draco
actually happened to one
misses.
of my friends. He was like round one at Dallas. He got crit. This guy hit 4 stone edges, crit the last one to beat him in game one, and then game two he had like Scarf Mence, and the other dude had like Garchomp, and he missed Draco onto the Garchomp, and then his Mence got KO'd, and he was like, well, that's a good start.
That would really throw me off my game. Honestly, like whenever something bad like that happens, it just I have to really get better at that. Like coming back and not wasting
Oh
20
yeah,
seconds of my gamer time getting pissed off at myself, you know what I mean? Like or being
that
pissed.
is that is I would say if you want to get good at competitive Pokemon, you absolutely have to be able to have that skill of like controlling your tilt or and whatnot, and keeping yourself in the right mindset. You know, because as I was talking about it a little bit earlier, but when you think about how many rounds there are in a Pokemon tournament, there's like what 9 rounds, all best of 3.
Hmm.
If you don't get haxed in that entire time, then you're a god.
Then you're a god.
You definitely will get haxed. It's all
Yeah.
like there are a few things that are certain in life. That's death, taxes, and getting haxed at regional. It's going to happen. You can't avoid it. And so before the tournament, you just need to look at yourself and be like, I'm gonna get hacked today, but I'm also gonna not let it affect me, and I'm gonna play around it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just talking about the past weekend again, I got fully paralyzed on my Porygon 7 times, and I still won the set. No, not an exaggeration, 7. Like we went back, we watched the battle video, and we counted. Okay, and I still won the game. He was running some Soak Bloom Doom thing, but still, like, oh man, I was pissed. Like, but I still pulled it
7?
7 times. I have the battle video right here. I was mad. I ended up getting second in that tournament, but not having anything to do with that game or set at all. But yeah, like that 7 paralyzes, and I still pulled the game to myself. I was pretty proud of myself. I was pretty
Yeah,
proud.
that's insane.
Nah, I was definitely definitely something I have to still work on though.
Hmm.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Lewis, for coming on the show. As always, have a great one, everybody, and please like, subscribe, and comment if you have anything to say or any questions. Maybe I can relay them to Lewis for you guys. Have a good one, everybody.
Mm-hmm.